What if I told you that the old, dirty, state quarters sitting in a jar, box, or forgotten drawer, these aren't shiny proof coins locked away. These are grimy, everyday state quarters that slipped through circulation with mint errors so rare collectors are desperately hunting for them right now. Most people spend them without a second thought, but a few lucky finders have turned pocket change into life-changing money. Stop scrolling, because the old, dirty, quarter sitting in your pocket right now could be hiding big money life-changing value and a hidden treasure most people throw away without a second glance. I'm talking about a 1999 Georgia state quarter dollar that looks ordinary, worn, maybe even ugly, but under the right conditions, it can be worth hundreds, thousands, and in extreme cases, prices that shock even veteran collectors. Now here's the mystery. Back in 1999, millions of Americans were spending these quarters on soda machines, parking meters, and coffee. Nobody imagined that some of the very first state quarters ever released would later become some of the most hunted modern coins in U.S. history. And the Denver Mint? It quietly produced coins that would go on to carry strange errors, unusual surfaces, and clues that something went very wrong during production. And that's where the story gets exciting, because collectors eventually noticed something disturbing and thrilling. Some 1999 Georgia quarters were coming out old-looking, discolored, weakly struck, or completely different from normal examples. Coins that should have been perfect looked like they survived decades of circulation. Asterisk, asterisk, straight out of the mint, asterisk, asterisk. That's when whispers started spreading through the coin world. What if these weren't just worn coins, but mint errors hiding big money? Let's talk value, because this is where hearts start racing. A normal circulated 1999 Georgia quarter is usually worth face value. But add the right error, the right surface, the right strike problem, and suddenly that same, dirty, coin jumps to $100 to $500 and $2,000 to $5,000, and in rare documented cases, five-figure prices at auction. Asterisk, asterisk, that's not fantasy. That's real money changing hands. And here's the shocker. The more ugly some of these coins look, the more valuable they can be. Now let me reset your attention, because this is important. One of the most valuable varieties to watch for is the grease-filled die error. On some 1999 Georgia quarters, grease clogged the die during striking, causing missing or faint details. The peach looks weak. The leaves fade. Letters in Georgia or In God We Trust appear partially missing. To the untrained eye, it looks damaged. To collectors, that's a hidden treasure. These grease-filled error quarters have sold for $300 to over $1,500, depending on how dramatic the missing details are. But it gets better. Another shocking variety is the off-center strike. Some Georgia quarters were struck off-center by 5%, 10%, even more. If the date, 1999, and the mint mark are still visible, big money. Verified examples have sold at auction for $1,000 to $3,000, especially when the coin has heavy circulation and that old, dirty look collectors love. Now here's where people really mess up. They clean the coin. If you find a 1999 Georgia quarter that looks dark, grimy, or unusually toned, do not clean it. That dirt could be original mint contamination, environmental toning, or a chemical reaction from planchet defects. Cleaning it can erase thousands of dollars in life-changing value instantly. Let's talk about planchet errors, because this is where the real suspense lives. Some 1999 Georgia quarters were struck on defective planchets, metal blanks that were improperly mixed or processed. These coins often look wrong. Unusual color, rough or grainy surfaces, weak rims, lighter or heavier than normal. Collectors have paid $2,000 to $6,000 for confirmed planchet errors from early state quarters, especially from 1999 issues. These are not common. They are rare, and they are often mistaken for damaged coins. Now pause for a second and think about this. How many times have you held an old, dirty quarter and thought, this is junk? That's exactly why these coins still slip through circulation today. Let's reset again, because the rim can make or break everything. Check the rim carefully. Some 1999 Georgia quarters show partial collars where the rim looks uneven or flattened. Others show double rims caused by striking errors. These errors can add $500 to $2,500 in value, depending on severity and condition. And yes, Collectors love coins that tell a story. A quarter that looks like it survived decades, but was actually born that way, carries emotional weight in the market. Now let's talk about die cracks and die breaks. On certain Georgia quarters, you may see raised lines across Washington's portrait, through the peach, or near the date. These are not scratches. These are die cracks, and they are highly collectible. Strong die breaks, sometimes called cuds, have sold for $1,000, especially when dramatic and clearly visible. Here's a real-world credibility moment. Certified in 1999, Georgia quarter errors have appeared in major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers. Verified sales show prices ranging from several $100s to well over $4,000 depending on rarity, error type, and eye appeal. That's not hype. That's documented big money. And remember, 1999 was the first year of the state quarters program. First-year coins always attract stronger collector demand. That alone adds fuel to the fire. Now let's get practical, because this could change your life. To identify a valuable 1999 Georgia quarter, check this carefully. Date must read 1999. Mint mark D under "In God We Trust." Look for weak details, missing letters, or faded design. Inspect color. Unusual dark, gray, or brassy tones matter. Check rims for unevenness or doubling. Look for raised cracks or missing design elements. If something feels off, trust that instinct. Many life-changing coins were saved because someone paused for one extra second. And here's the final shock. Some collectors believe that high-grade error examples, combined with strong provenance and professional grading, could one day push certain extreme Georgia quarter errors into record-breaking territory as demand continues to grow. While million-dollar sales are extremely rare in modern coinage, the right error, the right story, and the right market timing can create explosive results. That's how hidden treasure works. And right now, those treasures are still hiding in jars, drawers, old wallets, and change cups all across America and even overseas. So before you spend another quarter, before you toss that old, dirty coin aside, before you assume it's worthless, stop. Right now. Because the old, dirty quarter you've been ignoring, the one scratched, darkened, and forgotten at the bottom of a drawer, could be hiding big money, a hidden treasure, and possibly a life-changing value worth thousands of dollars. I'm serious. Today we're talking about the 2000p Virginia State Quarter Dollar, and this coin has a story most people never hear until it's too late. Back in the year 2000, America was celebrating a brand new millennium. The state quarters program was exploding in popularity, and millions of people were pulling quarters from circulation, hoping to get rich. But while everyone was distracted, something strange was happening quietly at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins were being rushed out at massive speed. Quality slipped. Mistakes happened. And among them, the Virginia quarter became one of the most mysterious early state quarters of all. Here's the part that gives collectors chills. Many of the most valuable 2000p Virginia quarters don't look special at all. They look old, dirty, worn, even damaged. The kind of coin most people toss back in a change without a second thought. But buried inside that ugly surface can be mint errors and production mistakes that turn a 25-cent coin into hundreds, thousands, or even more in collector value. This is where big money enters the story. Let's reset your attention right now, because this matters. The design itself already carries weight. The Virginia quarter shows 3 historic ships with the inscription, Jamestown 1607 to 2007. It's a symbol of America's earliest beginnings. Collectors love history. And when history collides with rare mint errors, demand explodes. Now let's talk value, because this is where jaws drop. A normal circulated 2000p Virginia quarter is worth face value. But add the right error, and suddenly that same dirty coin jumps to $100 to $300 and $1,000 to $3,000, and in documented cases, even higher. That's not hype. That's real auction money. One of the most common and most misunderstood errors is the grease-filled die error. At the Philadelphia Mint, grease sometimes clogged the dies during striking. On Virginia quarters, this can cause weak ship details, missing ropes, faded letters in Virginia, or partial loss of "In God We Trust." To most people, it looks worn. To collectors, it's a hidden treasure. Strong grease-filled error Virginia quarters have sold for $200 to over $1,200 depending on how dramatic the missing design is. Now listen carefully, because this next part shocks even experienced collectors. Some 2000 P Virginia quarters were struck with off-center errors. We're talking 5%, 10%, even 15% off-center. If the date 2000 and the P mint mark are still visible, collectors go crazy. Verified auction results show off-center Virginia quarters selling for $800 to $3,500. And here's the twist. Coins with heavy circulation will often sell faster because they prove the error happened at the mint, not later. Now let's reset again, because this is where people lose big money without knowing it. The color of the coin matters. If your 2000 P Virginia quarter looks unusually dark, gray, streaky, or even slightly brassy, do not clean it. Ever. That discoloration could be the result of a planchet error, a defective metal blank used before striking. These coins may feel lighter or heavier than normal and often have a rough or grainy surface. Confirmed planchet errors from early state quarters have sold for $2,000 to $6,000 at major auctions. Some were originally found in pocket change. That's life-changing value hiding in plain sight. Now check the rim, because the rim tells secrets. Some 2000 P Virginia quarters show partial collar errors, where the rim looks uneven or flat. Others show double rims, caused by striking problems. These errors can push values to $500 and $1,500, even $2,500, depending on severity and eye appeal. And yes, this is where that old, dirty look actually increases value. Collectors love authenticity. Let's talk about die cracks and die breaks, because this is where drama really builds. Look closely at Washington's portrait and the ships. Raised lines running through the design are not scratches, they're die cracks. Some Virginia quarters show dramatic cracks across the sails or near the date. Strong die breaks, sometimes called cuds, have sold for $700 to over $2,000, especially when certified. Now here's the credibility moment. Certified 2000 P Virginia quarter errors have appeared in major auction houses like Heritage Auctions. Public records show multiple sales in the high hundreds and low thousands, depending on error type and condition. This is an internet rumor. This is documented big money. And remember, 2000 was only the second year of the state quarters program. Asterisk, early issues carry extra collector demand. As more collectors enter the market, prices continue to climb. Now let's make this practical, because this could change your future. To identify a valuable 2000 P Virginia quarter, check carefully. Date must read 2000. Mint mark P on the obverse. Look for weak or missing ship details. Inspect lettering for fading or loss. Check color. Dark or unusual tones matter. Examine the rim for flattening or doubling. A look for raised cracks in the design. If something looks wrong, don't ignore it. That wrong feeling is often the difference between pocket change and a hidden treasure, and here's the final shock. Some collectors believe the best preserved and most dramatic Virginia quarter errors, especially early discoveries with strong provenance, could continue climbing as the state quarter generation ages and demand intensifies. While million-dollar prices are rare in modern coins, the right error, the right timing, and the right collector can create explosive results. That's how life-changing value is born. So before you spend another quarter, before you toss that old, dirty coin aside, before you assume it's worthless, stop everything. That old, dirty quarter in your pocket, your wallet, or at the bottom of a jar could be hiding big money, a hidden treasure, and life-changing value you never imagined. I'm talking about the 2001 P New York State Quarter Dollar, one of the most mysterious and collectible state quarters ever produced, and some of these coins have sold for hundreds, thousands, or even more in documented auction sales. If you think this is just a worn, worthless quarter, think again. Back in 2001, America was still in the early excitement of the state quarters program. Millions of these coins were circulating, and nobody imagined that some would later become modern coin legends. But here's the twist. The Philadelphia Mint was rushing production, striking coins at incredible speed. In the chaos, striking errors, die problems, and unusual planchets began appearing. Some of these coins were quietly released into circulation, looking completely normal, or even ugly, but holding hidden treasure inside. Collectors soon noticed a strange phenomenon. Some 2001 New York quarters looked old, dirty, almost battle-worn even though they were only months old. The designs appeared weak, letters faint, and some details missing entirely. To most people, these were worthless. To seasoned collectors, they were the ultimate hunt for big money. Let's talk about value, because this is where your jaw should drop. A normal circulated 2001 New York quarter is worth 25 cents. But if it carries the right error or unusual feature, that same coin can soar to $100 to $500 and $1,500 to $3,000 or even higher depending on rarity and condition. Some collectors have even paid over $5,000 for dramatic examples verified by major auction houses. That's life-changing value from a coin that most people throw away. Now here's a shocking detail you need to know. One of the most sought-after varieties is the grease-filled die error. Sometimes the die gets contaminated with grease or debris during minting. On New York quarters, this causes weak details in the Statue of Liberty, faint letters in New York, or missing design elements. To the casual eye, it looks worn. To collectors, it's a hidden treasure. Coins like this have sold for $200 to $1,200 depending on severity. And there's more. Some 2001 New York quarters were struck off-center, some slightly, some dramatically. A coin that is 5 to 10% off-center, with the date and mint mark still visible, is incredibly valuable. Verified sales of off-center New York quarters range from $800 to $3,500, particularly when combined with that old, dirty look collectors crave. Let's reset your attention, because the color can make or break a coin. If your quarter looks unusually dark, gray, or streaky, don't clean it. That discoloration could indicate a planchet defect, meaning the metal blank was improperly prepared. These planchet errors often result in rough surfaces, odd weights, or unusual tones. Some of these rare New York quarter planchets have sold for $2,000 to $6,000, transforming ordinary change into life-changing value. Now check the rim carefully. Some 2001 New York quarters exhibit partial collars, uneven edges, or double rims, caused by striking errors. These details can push values to $500 to $2,500 depending on severity and eye appeal. And yes, the dirtier and older looking the coin, the more collectors love it. And let's talk about die cracks and die breaks, because this is where real drama happens. Look closely at the Statue of Liberty and the surrounding design. Raised lines or extra metal flowing across the coin are die cracks, some quarters, even if cuts, large raised areas where part of the die broke. These errors have sold for $700 to over $2,000 in verified auctions, especially when certified by professional grading services. Here's credibility you can't ignore. Certified 2001 New York quarter errors have appeared in heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and other major sales, with records showing multiple examples selling for high hundreds and low thousands of dollars, depending on rarity and condition. This is not internet rumor. This is real, documented big money. And remember, the early state quarters, especially the second year of the program like 2001, carry extra collector demand. First-year coins get attention, but the second-year coins like New York already have scarcity and history built in, and as more collectors join the market, prices continue climbing. Let's make this practical, so you can spot hidden treasure immediately. To identify a valuable 2001 New York quarter, check carefully. Date must read 2001. Mint mark P under, "In God We Trust." Inspect the Statue of Liberty design for weak or missing details. Look at letters in New York. Fading or missing letters are critical. Examine color. Unusual dark, gray, or streaky tones are a red flag. Check the rim for flattening, partial collars, or doubling. Look for raised lines or cracks across the design. Trust your instincts. If something looks off, it probably is. That wrong feeling could be your key to discovering life-changing value. And here's the final, shocking part. Some collectors believe that the most dramatic 2001 New York quarter errors, particularly the combination of off-center strikes, die cracks, and original toning, could continue rising in value as collectors age and the coins become scarcer. While million-dollar modern coins are rare, the right combination of error, timing, and eye appeal can create explosive results in value. That's the magic of hidden treasure. The kind of big money that sits unnoticed in drawers, pockets, and jars across the country. So before you spend another quarter, before you toss that old, dirty coin aside, before you assume it's worthless, stop what you're doing and listen carefully, because the old, dirty quarter you've been tossing around in your pocket could be worth big money, a hidden treasure, and life-changing value you never imagined. I'm talking about the 2002 Ohio State Quarter dollar, one of the most mysterious and collectible state quarters from the early 2000s. To most people, it looks worn, dull, maybe even worthless, but under the right conditions, it could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. Back in 2002, the state quarters program was in full swing. Millions of Ohio quarters were produced at the Denver Mint, entering circulation to celebrate the Buckeye State's rich history. But here's the secret. While most coins looked perfect to the average eye, minting errors and unusual production flaws were quietly slipping into circulation. Some coins came out weakly struck. Others had unusual toning, planchet defects, or die problems. These mistakes would later become the stuff of collector legend. The story gets even more intriguing. Early collectors noticed that some Ohio quarters looked old, grimy, and strangely worn, yet they were brand new. What caused this? Was it environmental factors, poor striking at the mint, or some mysterious combination of errors? The truth is, these coins are rare survivors, and collectors quickly realized the uglier and dirtier the coin, the higher its potential value. Let's talk about value, because this is where your heart should start racing. A normal circulated 2002 Ohio quarter is worth just 25 cents. But if it carries one of these errors or unusual characteristics, it can suddenly jump to $100 to $500 and $1,500, even $3,000 or more in verified cases. Coins with the most dramatic mint errors have sold for over $5,000, and those numbers keep climbing as collectors hunt for the rarest varieties. That's life-changing value hiding in plain sight. Now let's reset your attention. One of the most collectible varieties is the grease-filled die error. During minting, grease or debris sometimes clog the die. On Ohio quarters, this can cause weak details in the state outline, faint lettering in Ohio, or missing details in the leaves and motto. To most people, it looks worn or damaged. To collectors, it's hidden treasure. Coins with this error have sold for $200 to over $1,200, depending on how dramatic the missing design elements are. And there's more. Some 2002 Ohio quarters were struck off-center. Some slightly, some dramatically. If the date, 2002, and the D mint mark are still visible, collectors go wild. Verified off-center Ohio quarters have sold for $800 to $3,500, especially if combined with the old, dirty appearance that proves they weren't tampered with. Now check the color of your coin. If it looks unusually dark, gray, streaky, or brassy, do not clean it. That discoloration could indicate a planchet error, where the metal blank was improperly prepared before striking. These defective planchets often result in unusual weight, rough surfaces, or strange toning. Rare planchet errors of 2002 Ohio quarters have sold for $2,000 to $6,000, and in the world of coin collecting, that's considered life-changing value. Now let's inspect the rim. Some Ohio quarters show partial collars, flattened edges, or double rims caused by striking errors. These subtle details can push a coin's value to $500 to $1,500 or $2,500, depending on severity and eye appeal. And yes, the dirtier and older looking the coin, the more collectors love it. Next, look closely for die cracks and die breaks, because this is where drama really builds. Raised lines or extra metal on the Statue of Liberty's leaves, the state outline, or near the date are die cracks, not scratches. Some coins even show cuds, large raised areas caused by a broken die. These errors have sold for $700 to over $2,000, particularly when professionally certified and dramatic. Here's where credibility comes in. Certified 2002 Ohio quarter errors have appeared in heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and other major sales, with records showing coins selling for hundreds and even thousands of dollars. This is real big money, not hype. And remember, The state quarters program was still relatively new in 2002. Early issues like the Ohio quarter are in higher demand, particularly among collectors who want complete state sets. That scarcity combined with dramatic errors creates explosive value. Let's make this practical so you can spot hidden treasure yourself. To identify a valuable 2002 D Ohio quarter, look for date 2002 and mint mark D on the obverse. Weak or missing details in the state outline or leaves. Faded letters in Ohio or E pluribus unum. Unusual dark, gray, or streaky color. Flattened or double rims, partial collars. Raised lines, die cracks, or cuds in the design. Trust your instincts. That something is off feeling is often your first clue that a coin could be life-changing value. And here's the final shocking piece. Some collectors believe that the most dramatic 2002 D Ohio quarter errors, especially those with multiple error types and original toning, could continue climbing in value as the coins age and fewer examples remain in circulation. While million-dollar modern coins are rare, the right error, the right timing, and the right collector can create explosive big money opportunities. That's the magic of hidden treasure, the kind that sits unnoticed in drawers, wallets, and jars across America, and even overseas. So before you spend another quarter, before you toss that old, dirty coin aside, before you assume it's worthless, stop everything right now, because the old, dirty quarter hiding in your pocket, your drawer, or even in a jar of spare change could be worth big money, a hidden treasure, and life-changing value. I'm talking about the 2004 D Wisconsin State Quarter Dollar, one of the most mysterious and collectible coins of the modern era. On the surface, it might look ordinary or even ugly, but under the right conditions, it can be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more, and the story behind it is as shocking as its value. Back in 2004, the state quarters program was in full swing. Millions of Wisconsin quarters rolled out of the Denver Mint, celebrating the Badger State with its iconic cow, grain stalks, and a bold 1848, marking the year Wisconsin became a state. But here's the twist. During production, some quarters came out weakly struck, oddly colored, or misaligned. At the time, most went unnoticed, quietly slipping into circulation. To the average person, they were just coins. To collectors, these were hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. Here's where it gets even more exciting. Some 2004 D Wisconsin quarters look old, grimy, and worn despite being fresh from the mint. The cow's details may be faint. The lettering may be weak. Even the edges might look uneven. Most people toss these aside, but that exact, ugly look is often the clue that a coin carries life-changing value. Let's talk about value, because this is where jaws drop. A standard circulated 2004 D Wisconsin quarter is worth just 25 cents. But when you find one with an error or unusual feature, that same coin can soar to $100 to $500 and $1,500 to $3,000 or more. In fact, some dramatic errors have sold for over $5,000 at major auctions. That's right, mere change turning into big money because of a tiny minting mistake. Now let's reset your attention with a shocking fact. One of the most sought-after varieties is the grease-filled die error during production. Grease or debris sometimes clog the die, causing weak details. On Wisconsin quarters, this can appear as faint details on the cow, missing grain stalks, or faded lettering in Wisconsin. To the untrained eye, it looks damaged. To collectors, it's a hidden treasure. Coins with this error have sold for $200 to over $1,200, depending on severity. And that's not all. Some 2004 D Wisconsin quarters were struck off-center, sometimes slightly, sometimes dramatically. If the date 2004 and the D mint mark are still visible, the coin's value skyrockets. Verified auction sales of off-center Wisconsin quarters range from $800 to $3,500, particularly when the coin maintains that old, dirty look that collectors crave. Now, take a close look at the coin's color. If it appears unusually dark, gray, or streaky, don't even think about cleaning it. That discoloration could be the result of a planchet defect, meaning the metal blank was improperly prepared before striking. These planchet errors often come with rough surfaces, odd weight, or unusual tones. Rare planchet error Wisconsin quarters have sold for $2,000 to $6,000 instantly, transforming ordinary change into life-changing value. Let's move to the rim, because this detail can't be overlooked. Some coins show partial collars, flattened edges, or double rims, all caused by striking errors. These subtle anomalies can push a coin's value to $500 to $2,500 depending on severity. And yes, the dirtier the coin looks, the more collectors love it. That worn, old appearance is often proof that the coin is untouched and original. Now, check for die cracks and die breaks. Raised lines or extra metal running through the cowl, the grain stalks, or near the date aren't scratches, they're die cracks ***. Some coins even show large raised areas called cuts. These dramatic die breaks have sold for $700 to over $2,000, especially when certified by professional grading services. Here's where credibility comes in. Certified 2004. Wisconsin Quarter errors have appeared in heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and other major auction houses, with documented sales reaching hundreds and thousands of dollars, depending on the rarity and condition of the coin. This is not speculation, it's real, proven big money. And remember, early state quarters, even in 2004, are in high demand. Collectors looking to complete state sets especially prize these coins, and errors make them even more collectible. Scarcity combined with rarity is a recipe for explosive value. Here's how you can spot hidden treasure immediately. To identify a valuable 2004 Wisconsin Quarter, look for date 2004 and mint mark D on the obverse. Weak or missing details on the cow or grain stalks. Faded letters in Wisconsin or E pluribus unum. Unusual dark, gray, or streaky color. Flattened or doubled rims, partial collars. Raised lines, die cracks, or cuds in the design. Trust your instincts. That feeling of something's off is often the first clue that a coin could be life-changing value. Now here's the final, shocking piece. Some collectors believe that the most dramatic 2004 Wisconsin Quarter errors, especially those with multiple error types and original toning, could continue climbing in value as these coins become scarcer in circulation. While modern coins rarely hit million-dollar prices, the right combination of error, timing, and collector interest can create explosive big money opportunities. That's the magic of hidden treasure, the kind sitting unnoticed in drawers, jars, and wallets across the country and even overseas. So before you spend another quarter, before you toss that old, dirty coin aside, before you assume it's worthless, stop what you're doing right now, because the old, dirty quarter sitting in your pocket, your wallet, or at the bottom of a jar could be worth big money, a hidden treasure, and life-changing value. I'm talking about the 2006 North Dakota State Quarter Dollar, one of the most mysterious and collectible modern state quarters ever produced. On the surface, it looks ordinary, maybe even grimy and worn, but under the right circumstances, it can be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. Back in 2006, the state quarters program was still capturing the imagination of collectors nationwide. Millions of North Dakota quarters rolled out of the Denver Mint, celebrating the state's rugged prairies, the majestic bison, and the pride of its heritage. But here's the twist. While most coins looked perfect, a small number left the mint with subtle errors and unusual characteristics that went completely unnoticed by the public. Over time, collectors realized that these mistakes were the real hidden treasure, coins that could transform ordinary change into life-changing value. The story gets even more mysterious. Some 2006 North Dakota quarters look old, grimy, and weathered, even though they were minted just months before entering circulation. The bison may appear faint, details on the plains may be weak, and lettering in North Dakota, or E pluribus unum, may be partially missing. To most people, it's a worn coin. To collectors, it's a rare opportunity for big money. Let's talk about value, because this is where your heart should start racing. A standard circulated 2006 North Dakota Quarter is worth face value, 25 cents. But if it has the right error or unusual feature, that same coin can suddenly jump to $100 to $500 and $1,500 to $3,000 or more. Some of the most dramatic and certified examples have sold for over $5,000 at major auctions. That's right, a coin that seems worthless can become life-changing money in the right hands. Now, Let's reset your attention. One of the most collectible varieties is the grease-filled die error. Sometimes during production, grease or debris clogs the die, leaving coins with weakly struck details. On North Dakota quarters, this can result in a faint bison, missing plains textures, or partially missing letters in North Dakota. To the casual eye, it looks damaged. To collectors, it's a hidden treasure. Coins with this error have sold for $200 to $1,200 depending on severity. Here's another shocking fact. Some 2006 D North Dakota quarters were struck off-center, sometimes just slightly, sometimes dramatically. If the date 2006 and the D mint mark are still visible, the coin's value skyrockets. Verified off-center North Dakota quarters have sold for $800 to $3,500, especially when combined with that old, dirty look collectors love. Now, take a look at the color. If your coin looks unusually dark, gray, streaky, or brassy, do not clean it. That discoloration may indicate a planchet defect, meaning the metal blank was improperly prepared before striking. Planchet error coins often have rough surfaces, uneven weights, or unusual tones. Rare planchet error 2006 D North Dakota quarters have sold for $2,000 to $6,000 instantly, transforming ordinary pocket change into life-changing value. Check the rim carefully because it's another hidden clue. Some coins display partial collars, flattened edges, or double rims caused by striking problems. These features can push a coin's value to $500, $1,500, or $2,500 depending on severity and eye appeal. And yes, the dirtier and older looking the coin, the more collectors prize it. That worn appearance is often proof the coin is untouched and original. Now, look closely for die cracks and die breaks. Raised lines or extra metal running through the bison, plains, or near the date are die cracks, not scratches. Some coins even have cuts large raised areas caused by a broken die. Dramatic die breaks on North Dakota quarters have sold for $700 to over $2,000, especially when certified by professional grading services. Here's where credibility comes in. Certified 2006 D North Dakota quarter errors have appeared in heritage auctions, stacks bowers, and other major sales, with documented sales reaching hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on rarity and condition. This isn't rumor. This is real big money. And remember, early state quarters, even in 2006, are still highly sought after. Collectors completing full state sets prize coins like North Dakota, and errors make them even more valuable. Scarcity combined with rarity equals explosive collector demand. Here's how to spot hidden treasure yourself. To identify a valuable 2006 D North Dakota quarter, check for date 2006 and mint mark D on the obverse. Weak or missing details on the bison or plains. Faded letters in North Dakota or E pluribus unum. Dark, streaky, or unusual toning. Flattened or doubled rims, partial collars. Raised lines, die cracks, or cuds in the design. Trust your instincts. That something is off, feeling is often the first clue that a coin could hold life-changing value. Here's the final, shocking fact. Some collectors believe that the most dramatic 2006 D North Dakota quarter errors, especially coins with multiple error types and untouched toning, could continue climbing in value as fewer examples remain in circulation. While modern coins rarely hit million-dollar prices, the right combination of error, rarity, and collector interest can create explosive big money opportunities. That's the magic of hidden treasure, the kind sitting unnoticed in drawers, wallets, and jars across America and even overseas. So before you spend another quarter, before you toss that old, dirty coin aside, before you assume it's worthless, stop everything right now, because the old, dirty quarter you've been ignoring in your pocket, your wallet, or even that jar of loose change could be worth big money, a hidden treasure, and life-changing value. I'm talking about the 2007 D Idaho State $quarter, a coin that looks ordinary, even grimy, but hides a shocking story and a potential value that could turn your change into thousands of dollars. Back in 2007, the state quarters program was still in full swing, and millions of Idaho quarters rolled out of the Denver Mint. Featuring the majestic peregrine falcon and scenic mountains, it celebrated Idaho's natural beauty. But here's the secret. While most coins looked perfect, some slipped through with unusual errors, weak strikes, and strange toning that no one noticed at the time. These coins, years later, are now highly sought after, coveted by collectors who know the truth. The ugly coins are often the most valuable. The story gets even more mysterious. Certain 2007 Idaho quarters look old, dirty, and worn, even though they were just struck at the mint. The falcon may be faint, the lettering in Idaho or E pluribus unum partially missing, and the mountains may lack detail. To the untrained eye, it's just circulated change. To collectors, it's a hidden treasure, a coin with life-changing value hiding in plain sight. Let's talk about value, because this is where your heart should start racing. A standard circulated 2007 Idaho quarter is worth 25 cents. But if it has errors or unusual features, its value skyrockets. Some of the most dramatic coins have sold for $100 to $500 and $1,500 to $3,000, or even more, with verified auction sales reaching over $5,000 in extreme cases. That's right, a coin you might overlook can literally be big money in the right hands. Now let's reset your attention with something shocking. One of the most collectible varieties is the grease-filled die error. During striking, grease or debris can clog the die, leaving coins with weakly struck details. On Idaho quarters, this often shows up as faint feathers on the falcon, missing mountain details, or partially absent letters in Idaho. What looks like a worn coin to most is actually a rare error coin worth big money. These have sold for $200 to over $1,200, depending on the severity of the missing details. Here's another jaw-dropping fact. Some 2007 Idaho quarters were struck off-center, slightly off, dramatically off. It doesn't matter. If the date, 2007, and the D mint mark are still visible, the coin can be incredibly valuable. Verified off-center examples have sold for $800 to $3,500, especially when the coin keeps that authentic, old, dirty look collectors crave. Now, let's focus on color. If your Idaho quarter looks unusually dark, streaky, or brassy, do not clean it. That discoloration could indicate a planchet error, where the metal blank was improperly prepared before striking. Planchet error coins often have rough surfaces, uneven weight, or unusual tones. Rare planchet error Idaho quarters have sold for $2,000 to $6,000, turning what seems like junk into life-changing value. Now check the rim carefully. Some coins show partial collars, double rims, or flattened edges, caused by striking errors. These subtle features can push a coin's value to $500 to $2,500, depending on severity. And yes, the dirtier the coin, the more collectors love it. That grimy, old appearance is often proof the coin is untouched and original. Next, look closely for die cracks and die breaks. Raised lines or extra metal running through the falcon, mountains, or near the date are die cracks, not scratches. Some coins even have cuts large raised areas caused by a broken die. Dramatic die breaks on Idaho quarters have sold for $700 to over $2,000, especially when professionally certified. Here's where credibility comes in. Certified 2007 Idaho quarter errors have appeared in heritage auctions, Stacksbauers, and other major auction houses, with documented sales reaching hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on the rarity and condition. This is real big money, not internet rumor. And remember, even in 2007, early state quarters are highly collectible. Collectors trying to complete full state sets prize Idaho quarters, and errors make them even more desirable, creating explosive collector demand. Here's how to spot hidden treasure yourself. To identify a valuable 2007 Idaho quarter, check for date 2007 and mint mark D. Weak or missing details on the falcon or mountains. Faded letters in Idaho or E pluribus unum. Dark, streaky, or unusual toning. Flattened or doubled rims, partial collars. Raised lines, die cracks, or cuts. Trust your instincts. That something is off feeling is often the first clue that a coin could hold life-changing value. Now here's the final shocking fact. Some collectors believe that the most dramatic 2007 Idaho quarter errors, especially those with multiple error types and untouched original toning, could continue climbing in value as these coins become scarcer in circulation. While modern coins rarely hit million-dollar prices, the right combination of error, rarity, and collector interest can create explosive big money opportunities. That's the magic of hidden treasure, the kind sitting unnoticed in drawers, wallets, and jars across the US, and even overseas. So before you spend another quarter, before you toss that old, dirty coin aside, before you assume it's worthless,